Hey, I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTracker.com, and today we're going to break down the Woodcraft Stator cover protector install on our 2018 Kawasaki Ninja 400 project bike. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the product before we dive into the install. This is designed to protect the stator cover. Your OE engine covers, they're brittle, right? They're cast, they're brittle, they can wear through or crack in a racetrack or a street-based crash. I think this part is relevant for both track riders, racing or track day, as well as street riders. Given the fact that this is, they want to call it an entry-level bike, but this thing's a whole lot of fun, and now what I'm seeing is old dudes like me, they're buying this bike because it's a lot of fun to ride, okay? But it's kind of sort of a starter bike, which means if it's your first bike, you're more likely to drop it, okay, than you probably are if you're a seasoned rider. Well, it depends on you a little bit, I suppose, too. So having this overcover here to protect that cover, it's just going to help reduce the possibility of the bike hitting the ground, cracking the stator cover, and then you're leaking oil. If you're in a situation where you're leaking oil, you're done, your ride's over. So if you're out somewhere at a destination, it falls over the parking lot and cracks that, guess what? Well, you're getting a tow truck. That sucks really bad. If you're doing a track day or you're racing and you crash and you buzz through the cover or crack the cover, if you don't have a spare with you, guess what? Also done, okay? This is just 99 times out of 100, you're just gonna pick the bike back up, fix whatever else needs to be fixed, wipe this off, you're gonna be good to go. A lot of engineering with this, a lot of quality. You can see it adds a lot of structural stability, and that's where you get that tip over protection from, not just actual crash protection. The skid plate on this is replaceable. There's 3 bolts behind that allow you to remove it. They have options. This is double thick black aluminum. They have anodized red and blue aluminum. They have clear anodized aluminum. And then the most robust of the skid pads is a stainless steel skid pad that really holds up well in a slide, okay? Realistically, you're good with the aluminums or the stainless steel. It's gonna be about your preference and the overall looks of the bike. Basic install, parts relevant for both street and track day people. Quality is amazing. As always with Woodcraft, they do just a kick-ass job. Eric is a great engineer as well as one hell of a motorcycle rider and racer in his own regard. If you like what you see so far and you want to see what it takes to get this install done, stay tuned. We'll show you every step. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into the install now. I'm going to remove this lower portion of the left side fairing. We have a little clip up front. I'm going to release that, pull it out. 4mm internal hex fasteners. One here. Another one right here. A little further back, we have a 5mm internal hex right here. Okay. Put all that aside. Just kind of roll this thing right off. Okay, release it. We have another fastener here. This is a 4mm internal hex. Let's see if we can get enough access here. Now this is going to be a little to the tight side. I mean, realistically, it might not be a bad idea to do remove the whole side fairing. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pull the passenger seat. Release cable is right back here. We've shown you this a number of times. Pull back, lift up on the rear of the rider seat, up that comes. Now we have that off too. In order to really get the access we need here, we're going to need to at least partially pull this panel. We may end up pulling the entire thing. 4mm internal hex right here. I think Kawi did a good job on this, man. This bike is really pretty easy to work on, in my opinion. Body work is not super difficult, which is good. It's a great motorcycle to begin your mechanical career on. That's really a big part of the hobby, man, having the opportunity to work on your own bike. And It's nice that it's not super difficult. The bikes over the years have certainly gotten more complicated. We've got clips here, back here. You need to disengage those, and then you're able to just basically roll that right out of there, okay? Now we need to pull here and here. Those are 8mm hex. You could try to sneak that cover protector in by manipulating the fairing. You know, give that a shot and see if that works for you, okay? For the purpose of our video, I really think that the right way for me to do this is to just go ahead and tear the bike down. That way y'all can see what I'm doing, okay? And, you know, we're not just really prying it quite a bit. Got it out a long way right now. Okay, before we go any farther, let's go ahead and just kind of mock this thing up. You can see how it's going to follow the contour of that OE cover. Get an idea of which bolts need to come out. We've got these two here and these two up here. And I think now, with what we've done here with the fairing, I think we have enough space. So we're going to go ahead and roll with that. Start here. You can see I'm pulling the fairing out just a little bit. Save all your OE fasteners, and I also want you right now to pay attention which fastener came out of which hole and how long each one of them is. This will help you during your install. Okay. Okay, those two were both the same. So we have 3 fasteners that are of the same length, one that's a little bit longer, and that goes right here in that bracket. Now, looking at the cover itself, you'll see on the back side of it, there is a rubber pad. This is going to basically lightly be in contact with that OE cover. They put that there as a buffer zone. You can see the machining quality on this is top shelf, great engineering. Stuff always fits super nice. Before we install it, we need to get the skid pad on there. For this bike, we decided to go with the double thick aluminum in black. They do have options available. Double thick aluminum in blue, red, clear anodized, and then of course the stainless steel skid pad if that's your preference. To install it, we're going to get it lined up. We're going to use a little bit of thread locker. These tapered seat fasteners have a lot of mechanical grip, which is nice because it reduces the possibility of these coming loose. You don't want your skid pad to fall off, so still use thread locker. To torque these down, we'll be using a 3mm internal hex. Just get them started. Before you apply any torque, make sure each one of them is started. Get them all seated, like so. I'll go ahead and torque it. Nice and even. I don't typically use a torque wrench in my videos. Okay, I've been wrenching for a long time. Torque's really all about feel. If you don't feel confident, go ahead and grab a torque wrench. And using a torque wrench realistically is a great way to get a good feel for proper torque. Okay, now let's identify the fasteners and where they need to go, the varying lengths, so on and so forth. And you can clearly see by the design of this cover, the 2 longest are going to go back here. Moving forward, the longer of the 2 is going to go in that top hole. Slide the cover into position. Just get it started, finger tight. Okay, these are 5mm internal hex. It's like I showed you on the skid pad now, just finger tight, run them down. Light contact here with the fairing, but really it's insignificant, nothing to worry about. So I kind of held it out of the way. Make sure they're all seated. Like so. Now, go ahead and begin to torque these down. I like to pass over them a couple times. Like so. Nice and even torque. Keep all of your OE fasteners. Number one, they're great quality. Number two, you never know when you might need these down the road. So what I do with these project bikes now is I actually have different bins that I drop all these in. One for the Suzuki and one for the Ninja 400. When we come back, we'll get all the bodywork installed on the motorcycle. Okay, everything's bolted up. We are ready to put this motorcycle back together now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the fairing back into position. There's a push pin right under here. I'm gonna get that located in the grommet. Another one back in this area. Let's get that one pushed in, like so. 8mm fasteners, hex fasteners right here. You know, even with the bodywork, when you put the fastener in, don't just run it right down. Let's get these bad boys, you know, kind of all started first before you go wrenching on them, seat them, and then torque them. Like so. Got a 4mm internal hex that was right down here. I would definitely say on this install, there's no reason to pull the whole side panel. I was able to easily do this without going that deep. Okay, now we'll grab our upper trim piece. I already showed you. We've got 4 clips, fastener, and then these 2 here. I'll show you how to dip all this in. Okay, kind of get that up here, slide that in. Drop that down behind. Make sure you got your fasteners lined up. Pins push right into those rubber grommets. Like so. This fastener up here a little longer with a washer. Goes through the trim piece and then through the upper fairing. Shorter one, no washer. Right back here. Okay. The lower piece of the side fairing. These 2 tabs dip in these holes. You want to make sure that this slips into and interlocks with the other side. Woodcraft has a cover protector for the clutch side and the stator side. Okay, both are vulnerable for sure. Odds are if you're going to do one, you're probably going to want to do both. we've got a street frame slider install that we'll be releasing around the same time as these cover protectors. Pretty excited to see what Eric did on the frame sliders. Woodcraft frame sliders are definitely pretty famous. I believe they have a race version that will be coming out as well. 2 4mm internal hex fasteners here. It's also important to note with this or the clutch cover overprotector, we didn't replace any gaskets, we didn't disturb the other fasteners. 9,099 times 10,000, you're not going to have any issues. It's still important that you run the motorcycle and check for leaks before you take it out for that first ride. That's just a real good safety precaution to take, because you never know. All set there. We're going to drop the seats back on. Super important. These 2 tabs slide under and interlock properly with the bracket, okay? If they don't go under, the seat will just literally pop off. It'll be no bueno. So do that, push it down, lift up to test. We're good in the hood. Passenger seat, same thing, 2 tabs back here. Those in the bracket, we'll push back, push down, and then give it a good tug. Make sure you got it, okay? So there you have it, Woodcraft Stator cover protector install. It's a very basic job. I showed you all the tools you're going to need. Flat bladed little screwdriver, got a little thread locker here, 8mm socket on a T, 5, 3, and a 4mm T-handle. That's all it took to install this. Like I said earlier too, this has applications for both street and track. The covers, this one's super vulnerable right here on the Stator side. Just going to help protect it in a crash or tip over. I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com.